The Titans and the Texans. It was a great game, to be honest. It was one of 9 games in the early slate on Sunday. So I was switching between games, but this was one of the games that I was watching the most. Mostly because it had fantasy implications, but because it was also a good game. It was a high scoring game. Titans versus Texans. 42-36 Texans lost. 42 Titans, 36 Texans. The Titans go to 5-0. I owe every week. I feel like I'm saying the same thing, but I owe the Titans an apology. I owe Tannehill an apology. My preseason picks. I picked the Colts to win the division, and I picked the Titans to not make the playoffs, not win the division. And Mike Vrabel has that team playing really tough on both sides of the football. Tannehill, I criticized Tannehill for his contract, and honestly, I don't think that was a bad spirited, or that was like anything crazy. Tannehill had been a decent quarterback his whole career with the Miami. He got drafted by Miami. He was a good quarterback, good but not great. Decent season. I think his best season, he threw like 28 touchdowns and like 10 picks before this, which is cool. It's not bad. It's not great. And he was already 30 years old last year when he signed with the Titans. And then, he had that Cinderella run to the playoffs. And then he looked very limited against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I was like, okay, like I felt, in my opinion, that kind of exposed him. He was like, all right, when the running game's not going, it kind of felt like the Titans didn't believe in Tannehill. Like they weren't opening up the playbook. They didn't let him go win that game with his arm in the playoffs. So that was my reasoning behind not picking the Titans to win the division. I thought teams were going to catch up to them. I thought Tannehill's little run wasn't going to continue. And it did. And he's playing great. He's playing amazing, actually. He's taking care of the ball. He's finding his receivers. He looks comfortable in the pocket. He's moving well. He still has his athleticism. He used to be a wide receiver, I believe, in college. So he can still run. He can still extend the play. It looks like the Titans were smart by paying him. Honestly, that contract might be a bargain when it's all said and done. I think it was $29 million, which is crazy to think about. If I would have told you 3 years ago that the Titans were going to pay Tannehill $29 a year and it could be a bargain, you would have been like, you're crazy, man. What are you smoking? But things changed quickly in the NFL, and Tannehill is having one of the best, if not the best, resurgence stories in recent history. He really changed his career. He got away from the Dolphins. I guess the Dolphins were just a dumpster fire. And now he's leading the Titans. They're 5-0. They're going to make the playoffs for sure, unless something horrific happens. But it was a great game. The Texans came out and now they don't have their head coach. They're probably trying to prove that, it was a head coach. It wasn't them. They came out strong. Watson had a great game too. But the story of this game was Tannehill being clutch, Tannehill being a franchise quarterback, Tannehill kind of proving that it wasn't a fluke. I'm here to stay. I'm for reals. This is my team. I belong in the conversation for top 10 quarterbacks in the league. And Derrick Henry just keeps proving that he's a monster. He's a man amongst boys. He's the biggest player on the field most of the times, including defensive linemen. The fact that he's that big and he could move that quick is unfair, to be honest. Like, what's going on? Like, he looks like a grown ass man playing with high school kids when he's on the field, and that's pretty scary. He busted out another 90-yard run. He had another 200-yard game to add to his collection. He's just a monster. I think they put a stat when he broke that long run and went over 200 yards. Over the last 2 years, the Derrick Henry has 3 200-yard games. The rest of the NFL combined has 3. And so just him by himself, he has as much as the whole NFL combined, 200-yard games over the last 2 years. That's ridiculous. Derrick Henry is a monster. He got paid this offseason. When they paid Tannehill and they hadn't paid Derrick Henry, I was like, what are you guys doing? You got to take care of Derrick Henry. And thankfully for all neutral fans and Derrick Henry fans, the Titans did take care of him. They gave him a nice contract. He got paid. He's running even harder than before. So it looks like they're getting their money's worth. The Titans are a scary team. They got AJ Brown back. He had some injury concerns or issues at the beginning of the season. I know because I have him on my fantasy team. But now he's back. Once they get Davis back from the COVID-19 exempt list or whatever he's in, he missed a game. Or last 2 games because of COVID-19. But once he gets back on the other side, they're gonna have 2 physical, good wide receivers. AJ Brown more than Davis, but Davis is pretty good too. And then they have 2 beast tight ends. Tannehill's playing great. They probably have the best running back in the league right now, Derrick Henry. The Titans are for reals, man. The Titans are scary. The Titans are 5-0. And just like I said for the Steelers, that number 1 spot in the AFC is going to be especially crucial this season or going forward. There's only 1 bye week in each conference, and it's going to be super important if you're a title contending team to get that number 1 spot, to avoid playing in the wild card round, to rest up your players, to get healthy. And the Titans have a good track. They're on a good track to get that number 1 spot. They play the Steelers this week. It should be a great game. If you guys are going to watch one game next week, I suggest it's this one. The Titans at 5-0 against the Steelers at 5-0. Big Ben against Tannehill. Tannehill is playing elite, which is crazy. It's still crazy to just wrap everything. He's from the same draft class as Luck and RG3. And we all know how Luck and RG3 career started. RG3 started firing out the gate with the Washington football team, or they were called the Redskins back then. But RG3 came out firing. Luck came out with all the hype. He was supposed to be the next big quarterback. He's the can't miss prospect, but he retired early. So RG3 is a backup. Luck is retired, and Tannehill is over here being a franchise quarterback, leading the Tennessee Titans to a 5-0 record in the same division that Luck got drafted into, the AFC South. It's just crazy storyline, crazy career turn that Tannehill has had. He flipped the switch, and it's been pretty awesome to see, to be honest. So I wish him the best. I wish the Titans the best. And like I said, if you're going to watch one game next week for week 7 of the NFL, I suggest you watch the Tennessee Titans against the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2 5-0 teams duking it out.